Today, I'm going to show you a figure that can go from decked out to stripped down, and hopefully not sound like a weirdo while I'm doing it.
Ugh, look at those back muscles.
This is weird. Welcome back. Today we are looking at Gold Hildr from Xesray Studio. I missed the first few waves of this line, which was mostly gladiators, but I did grab a couple of their creatures and I really love them. So let's play with this toy. As you can see, I've been messing around with it a bit already. I've got her fully kitted out, put all of her accessories on, and that was pretty fun. The figure feels really nice. The joints are super smooth. It's pretty easy to swap out hands, and there's this very cool feature where you can pop the top of the hair off and then put the helmet on. That is genius. As far as everything else, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. I do really enjoy posing this figure around, but there are a lot of floating parts on it. That can be seen as a benefit because everything can be taken off, which of course we're gonna do. But sometimes when you're posing it around, like you got like this thing is driving me nuts. It just floats around all over the place, and sometimes when you're just trying to get her into a cool pose, like this thing falls down all the time and some things get in the way. This is a very strange placement for a sword sheath. It's like so far in front. Getting her into a cool pose is not difficult to do. Where did that axe go? There it is. Getting weapons into her hand is pretty easy. Just slide it in. And if you need another gripping hand, it's pretty easy to pop these off. Popping them on can be a little tricky because these bracers are floating pieces too. Oh god, but once you got it lined up, it's not too bad popping them on, as long as you don't send up. There we go. Oh, there goes our helmet. So, yeah, sometimes you got stuff falling off, and that can be a little annoying, but see, once you get into the groove, and you know what you're trying to do, just like that Guts figure I reviewed, I really like when a figure can hold a weapon with two hands and you can actually adjust the pose with both hands on the weapon without being worried about like breaking the hands off or something. I always appreciate that. That's a really stiff torso twist there, but I mean, come on, look at that. Whoop. The knee joints are a little loose, but nothing a little Kiki's joint fix can't fix. Anyway, I mean, come on, that's pretty badass, right? So yeah, for handling, I've got a few minor gripes, but still, I'd say thumbs up overall. Alright, let's talk about if I feel like all this plastic is worth the price. So to start things off, we'll just talk about like paint apps, and no complaints whatsoever. The detail here is impeccable, even like the little teeth painted on this belt. There is not a single reused part on this figure. Even the boots are all different. Like this one's got this plating. This one's got these little medallions. And yeah, I mean, you can see it's just everywhere is fantastically detailed. So let's talk about what she comes with. Since the helmet is on, I'll show the hairpiece here. And then we can do our little swap. I think that's my favorite part of the figure by far, being able to do that so easily. Here's this awesome helmet. Man, why did I even like put all that trouble into making a custom Dragonborn? I've got a lady one right here. We've also got a pair of bare feet in case you want to take her sandals off. Really nice detail on the toenails there. We have a pair of relaxed hands, a pair of very flat open hands, like maybe for waving, or if she's like, or maybe she's like doing push-ups or something. She's pretty muscular, I could see it. And we got a pair of fists. Damn it. She only has one facial expression, but I really like it. It's got some nice character to it, and it kind of works for whether she's fighting or just kind of sternly staring someone down. For a single blank expression, looks nice. Lots of character. She's got quite a few weapons too. We have this awesome, simple but brutal axe. She's also got a sword. And we've got a smaller one-handed axe. And she's even got a little knife. Seems like a carving or hunting knife. that back in there. And like I said, pretty much all of these pieces come off, so you could kind of consider those accessories as well. She also comes with some soft goods. We got this large cloak here, which does have a little clasp. It's not wired though, so I'm not sure if I'll use it. Then we've also got a smaller one, which also has a little clasp in here. We'll try those on in photos, but I am generally not a fan of cloth goods this large that are not wired. So very reasonable price point, great set of accessories, and really, really nice paint apps. So value is a definite thumbs up. Let's start up with some Savage Crucible figures. We have my custom Dragonborn and a Lemurian. Next we have Definitely Not Kratos from Bro Toys and the Figma Tears of the Kingdom Link, a Meditoys Orc, and Algar the First Receiver by Roman Key, Mythic Legions Dubon, and Animal Warriors of the Kingdom Pale. The other two Barbarian women in my collection, we've got a Mythic Legions Kitbash and Boss Fight Studio Red Sonja, McFarlane Toys Caveman Batman, and Frazetta Girls Conan. Some SH Figuarts Berserk figures, we have Guts and Nosferatu Zod, a Memory Toys Warrior Bear, and an Owl Bear. And finally, a Fish Toys Horse. Oh wait, can't forget this guy. Let's do like a reveal on camera. Here we go. Whoa! This is also a Fish Toys creature. It's a giant wolf mount. If you don't have one of these, I highly recommend it. Articulation isn't the best, but shelf presence. I mean, my God, look at this guy. I mean, even without the... Oh man, look at that. How fucking cool. It's so fucking cool. I love toys. Hell yeah. Oh, here, let's fix this. Yeah, that scabbard is just in a weird spot, right? All right, range is kind of a combination of evaluating articulation and also just like how many different configurations the figure can get into. So to start with articulation, she's got pretty much everything you need. Really nice range in the legs, double jointed knees. Doesn't even compromise the clearly a lot of work went into making her booty look good. Still poses great. I should cut that out. The elbows are interesting. They are single jointed, but at least so far I haven't had any problem with that. They still have really good bend. Probably bend even more if you take the bracers off. In spite of her hair, her head still has pretty good motion. Lots of side to side. Can look down really well. Looking up, not so much. That's okay. Someone's going to solve that one day, right? Just being able to look up in spite of all the hair. Now, the torso is interesting. There's pretty good range on the upper torso. Can bend forward. Can bend back that far. Forward that far. We'll see this better in a minute, but there is no cut here. So her only upper body articulation is the upper torso, which again I think was a compromise. But yeah, as far as configurations go, you can have her like just absolutely armed to the teeth here, which I really like. I do like all of her weapons except for the big axe have somewhere to go when she puts them away. And honestly, an axe like this, I think you just got to carry it. Although I might try to make a sheath for it in the Kitbash section. We'll see. You know what? Let's see how well she does actually riding a horse. Her legs certainly split out enough. Yep, that's pretty good. Let's see if she can get into the stirrups a little bit. Have to kind of push the foot down there, but let's see on the other side. Yeah, she looks great. Definitely. Whoop. Don't fall off, ma'am. Let's see. Let's actually get her into a nice pose here. Yeah. Yeah, she definitely can ride a horse. Why aren't you looking at the camera? Here we go. That's a beautiful horse. Whoa, whoa. These cloth goods are pretty cool. Like, it's nice that they have a clasp, so it's easy to put on her, but I'm struggling to find a way to have it sit where it just looks right. Like, if I pull it down a little bit, clearly these cuts, so it's meant to kind of like go around her arm like that, but I don't know. It's funny, looking at it through the camera, it looks pretty nice, but when I look over the camera, I don't know. Just, there's not like a lot of... I don't know how to describe it. It just doesn't really sit right with me. So I'll try to do some modifications and see what we can come up with. All right, now, as I mentioned earlier, everything can come off of this figure. So Of course we got to do that, right? That's part of the range section, seeing how different the figure can look. So here we go, I guess. Let's see how weird it looks as I take things off of a female figure with my big man hands. Not sure if I'll actually include this section or not. Pop that off. Let's just get all these weapons off of here. Leave that scabbard on because that was a pain to tab in. So with the arm stuff, pretty easy. Just pop the hand off and you can slide off the bracer. Slide off this upper arm ring thing. Same over here. Boop. Boop. And let's see how easy it is to pop these feet off. That was easier than I thought. Nice. Always appreciated when pop and swaps are easy. Slide these off. Little tight fit there. There we go. I do so much for you guys. Oh, there goes one of my lights. That off. Slide that off. All right, I'm guessing the only way to get this waist piece off is by detaching the torso. So let's pop the head off first. There goes the necklace. All right, let's see here. Does this come off? That's a scary sound. So if you're taking yours apart, be careful. Nothing broke, but you can see the, not this ball socket, but not this ball joint, but the one inside popped out. Looks like, oh, maybe that was supposed to happen. Ah, I see. So we pop this out, and then this can come off. No? Oh, yep. Here comes here comes the underwear. All right. Does this just slide off now with that off? Okay. That's how you do it. Oh, man. What am I doing? Well, this comes off too. This popped out pretty easily. It's just a little peg going in here. I'm sure they knew what they were doing when they made this that easy to come off. Well, that's a naked lady, all right. You know, I can't even... this... Oh, I feel so silly doing this. I will say the sculpting here is very nice. Great muscularity. You don't see a lot of female action figures with actual muscles. Things are anatomically correct under here, so I've got her covered up, but obviously, as you can see here, it's more Barbie style. Not bad sculpting to kind of maintain the the butt continuity. I think the underwear definitely hides the seams better. I don't know if you were going to take photos of her like this, probably would leave the underwear on. Probably looks better to leave a little bit to the imagination, I guess. Oh, this is weird. Yeah, they really knew what they were doing when they chose this face. Well, and that's why her back arches so much. Here I am, I was doing, poses of her, really bringing the axe back for, a big cleave, and, of course, it's probably for this too. So while I was putting her underwear back on, I popped her arm off, and this time I popped it off at the butterfly joint, in case you're curious what that looks like. So it's this little piece here with a ball socket in it, and this little tiny ball socket in there. I don't think I'll be undressing her again. This is all looking very, very fragile inside of here. All right, with her underwear back on, we can look at her articulation more unhindered. And yeah, she has quite a bit of range at this point. You can really, kick pretty high. And her elbow gets more of a bend. I'm a little worried about these elbows. Things are feeling a little fragile right here. There's already some plastic rub going on here. And yeah, in general, just the elbows feel really delicate. See how the joint doesn't seem like it's really molded to the plastic very well? It's not a huge deal, especially if you cover it up with the bracers. I would just be careful when messing around with the elbows too much. Which is the polar opposite of the legs. These knee joints are super smooth. It's like some of those newer double jointed Figma legs. So that's really nice. The choice to not have a cut here, I get it. but honestly, I would have rather had a bit more articulation. Still though, this is nice. Nice paintwork on the underwear bits. Got the little painted gold ring here. And these little painted rings. I promise I'm not trying to be a dork about this. I do think it's very cool that you can strip the figure down like this because, you know, do what you want with your action figures, but also that means that this is an excellent base body. You could easily get your hands on some soft goods and turn her into a totally different character. Still though, it's so it's so hard not looking like a dork, you know, just my handling this female action figure with no clothes on, but it's so hard to not be like,
ugh, look at those back muscles.
But yeah, I can appreciate having a nicely articulated, muscular female action figure to work with. I'm definitely going to keep the barbarian look though, so let's get her stuff back on. When popping the legs off, I recommend kind of holding it like this and just kind of gently rotating. There we go. Also, you need to put the underwear on after putting this piece on. It's a very tight fit. Also, when putting the legs back on, you may think you have it on, but if you can see any of the seams sticking out, just kind of work it a little bit more and you might hear like a second snap, and that's when you know it's really in there. Give me that foot. Yeah, a little bit of paint and rub here. There's your sword. Okay, half done. Seems like the rule of thumb is that all the gold stuff is on her left side. So that means like this little ring and the bracer with the gold bits on it. Cool thing I noticed about the gripping hands is that the pointer finger is actually separated and soft plastic, which means if you want, she can have a gun. You can even get the trigger finger in there. So yeah, with the ability to go from badass kitted out barbarian to naked ladies, she has quite a bit of range. So this section is a massive thumbs up. Wait. 2 thumbs up. Alright, let's do some kitbashing. Personalize this figure to make it really part of my collection. Now, after messing around with her, there's not a whole lot I want to do. This is a really solid character design. Looks great in different poses, but she does look an awful lot like the Dragonborn from Skyrim. And I just got finished making a male Dragonborn custom, and I thought, well, she's like 90% there. Let's see what we can do. Because after all, Skyrim is a game with a character creator, so the Dragonborn could be anybody. So I thought maybe we could just add some cloth goods, give her a bit more of a heroic silhouette. And I promise I'm not trying to be a prude, but I think she could use some upper body protection. So if I could find like some armor that will work, or maybe like fashion some kind of like leather top to maintain the barbarian look without it just looking like, you know, a bra with some symbols on it. So we'll see. So I went through my fodder bins and got way too much stuff out, but this is going to be fun, I think. So we've got some possible arsenal updates. Here's this really cool big old two-hander. I like me some of those. This sword's actually got a sheath, so that's a bonus. Here's another large sword from a Mythic Legion's orc figure. Or maybe like we lean into the enchanted weapons aspect of Skyrim more. Give her like a magic sword or some really like brutish bone weapon. Bigger one-handed axe. Oh, maybe a spear. She looked pretty cool with a spear though. That's tall, isn't it? Got this nice Mythic Legion shield. Really like the paintwork on this one. Matches her color scheme quite well. Also quite a few belts and straps. These will just kind of be, you know, anything I can do to help fill stuff in, or maybe help her carry a big sword on her back. Got some armor plates from a very old medieval Spawn figure. Maybe we can do something with those. A couple of more colorful cloth goods. Give her a little splash of color. Also some additional kind of Viking-y type parts. These are from a few different Forge Knight sets. Got some cloaks. Can't go wrong with a good cloak. And this is interesting. It's kind of like a tattered scarf. I think maybe I can make her a top out of this, perhaps. I'm dropping shit. I've also got a couple of Savage Crucible accessories that are part of their tabbing system. This scabbard in the front here that's been bugging me is also tabbed in, so I might be able to replace it with an accessory like this. Something that makes more sense to hang in the front, maybe like a health potion or something. So before we go further, this is one kind of nerdy thing I wanted to talk about that bugs me. It seems like basically her weapons are set up where no matter what, she's just always using her left hand. Aside from the two-handed axe, of course. Because like when you got an axe hanging here, you're gonna grab it with this hand. Like you're not gonna like reach over to grab an axe there. That's gonna feel weird, right? And obviously with the scabbard like this, you're gonna grab it with your left hand. And less of an issue because I'm sure it's not really a fighting tool, but her dagger is even set to grab with her left hand. So for her to logistically dual wield, she's got to pull this axe out, pass it over to this hand, and then draw this sword. Whoops, I popped it out. But you get the idea. You know, I am super nerdy about making every character's arsenal logical, and I think we can improve upon that here. But yeah, here we go. I'm going to just try on some different looks and show you what I come up with. Okay, we may have done it on the first try. This looks pretty rad. So we've got this big flowing cloak. It might be a little long for her. It's designed for that Berserk Zod figure that we saw in the scale comparison. But I think it works. Has that practical look to it and can totally drape all the way around her if needed. I also grabbed a Savage Crucible bone necklace, which I think is framed nicely for reasons. And she definitely looks great with this big brutal chopper here. And I was actually surprised at how easy it was to tab in a Savage Crucible accessory where her little scabbard goes. This is a bit big. It's like really hanging down, but I don't know. I think we're getting there. Let's try some other stuff. All right, this is pretty cool. I took one of her bracers off to give her a bit more range so she can actually like sling a weapon, or she can actually rest a weapon on her shoulder. That looks pretty cool. This blue cape adds a nice splash of color. And tried out a health potion here. I'm digging this. I think like as much as I love a good cloak, I'm not so sure I want to like completely break her silhouette. Like it's nice to maintain that kind of barbarian showing off the muscles aesthetic. I feel like I might have something with this red cloak, but I'm gonna need to do these little clips onto the bra or something because I cannot get it around her hair and everything. But I don't know, kind of almost got like a Spartan look going on here a little bit. Well, tragedy has struck. While removing her arm to try something, I broke a peg here. So now I gotta fix that. Shouldn't be too bad, just gotta get that peg out of there and figure something out. Always heat up your stuff if you're gonna do things like this. That is what I should have done. This is the most stubborn peg I've ever removed. Can you see it on there? I broke the tip of an X-Acto blade in there. Gotcha. The good news is this appears to be a ball in the shoulder, so as long as I can get a good peg in there, this should be an easy fix. Or maybe not. This does appear to be two pieces that are snapped together. That's a very interesting design. But as you can see, the peg is only attached to one side of it. So this might be a little trickier than I thought. All right, this old Figma joint goes in here okay. Stays on. Kinda. Seems like you can pop it in, and as long as we have a good peg attached. Oh yeah, if you work that in there, actually it's kind of hard to pull off. Perfect. Save as much of this plastic as we can. All right, I'm hoping that I can create a strong enough hole to glue this into here and give us a new peg. All right, that seems about as far as I can go without damaging this joint further. So you can see I've kind of, there we go. So you can see I've kind of got mimicking the idea that like part of the peg is shaved off so that it kind of goes over. Just gotta get these two to fit together. All right, look at that. That's something, right? Move this around, up and down. Getting there. Yeah, it's still sticking out a little too far, and its connection could be a little bit more secure. All right, get closer. Let's get some kikis in there. All right, I've gotten way too much super glue on my fingers, but I think we've got something here. Just using this clamp to get this glue to actually dry, because whenever I put this peg into the shoulder joint, the peg comes out of the arm, which is good, because that means it's holding in the shoulder. I just need it to hold in here too. So I'm gonna let this fully dry and see how it goes. While we wait for that, I think I got something here. This is looking pretty cool. Looks a little bit more on theme. Still shows off the barbarian muscles. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait for that arm to dry so we can see how this looks. It's too bad this didn't work. This is pretty close, but it's definitely a little too prone to wardrobe malfunctions, and the fastening would make it a little too loose. This is kind of cool, but I think it just covers up too much at this point. Plus, I'm realizing what was bugging me about the soft goods she came with is I don't really like when there's sculpted fur and soft fur on a figure. I think that can look a little weird. This is kind of cool, but would require like a pinch or something back here. Okay, now we're getting silly. Maybe this? I don't know. I almost lost the ability for this joint to go up and down. So the trick is I have to glue something in there without getting any glue in this seam. Very tricky. Well, that took a while, but I think we got this working pretty well. Generally, as long as I kind of push into the shoulder while posing, she holds a pose great. So not a bad result for what is usually a very difficult fix. It will pop out super easily if I pull on it, but, you know, gets the job done. Now, what were we doing? Oh yeah, all right, cool. This is looking good, and I didn't really do anything fancy. I just manipulated the wire on this, like, scarf thing. I think that came out pretty great. All right, I think we've got our final look. So here's her cool, kind of more natural looking top. We can pop the necklace on. That's pretty cool. And I made her this strap for her sword. So it's like a Mythic Legion's belt. I did a little cut and then re-glued it to make it tighter. And then I glued on this random scrap of armor from an old Spawn figure. I'm still working on tightening the peg for that broken shoulder joint, but it's getting there. I think I just need to full on go in with some epoxy. Yep, there it goes. I think I just need to go full on with some epoxy to tighten the hole a bit more. But right now, it at least will hold and not fall out. So that's something. Get your hair back on there. Give you your helmet. Yes. I am very, very happy with this. I really like this look because it still maintains the spirit of the figure, like you can tell what it is. I just made a few adjustments. The orange belt adds a little splash of color, the weapons are more to my liking, and she looks even more savage with the cloth goods top. My only regret is I really wish that I had cloth goods that matched the cloth that is hanging from the waist armor. All right, as always, let's wrap things up by putting her in the case. There we go. Hanging out with the other blank slate protagonists, and I think she's looking good. All right, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you come back for the next one. Bye.